So I want to preface that I will probably be considered an enemy by some people after this because I do like Rabbit, I do like Jamie, but I will be harshly critical about one major point, but the other points I have no issue with. So essentially, Jamie went on the Rabbit show and made a few, I think, strong points about the Aftermath Foundation controversy. Very quickly, the Aftermath Foundation is now headed by, frankly, the bad people who were in the Sea Org and OSA and Scientology, but now claim to be helping victims. Jamie is a little skeptical. He does credit Mike Rinder with helping him because he saw the Aftermath TV show and that inspired him, but he's going to be very critical of where they're going. I am mostly going to be in agreement. I will have one major disagreement, and hopefully that will be enough, but I suspect some people will be angry that I don't agree with Jamie all the way.
Understand that it's painful. That you know, like Jordan Belfort was in this incredible movie called The Wolf of Wall Street. I like to watch his podcast. Okay, yeah. I feel like in certain ways the guy's redeemed himself. I don't want to see Jordan Belfort as the chairman of the Securities and Exchange Commission.
Yeah,
and I don't want to see ex-int executives on any sort of board to help abuse victims. I think it's a conflict of interest. That's my opinion. Doesn't mean I'm right.
So the basic point he made, I think, is unimpeachable, that there's definitely a conflict of interest with the board. We have 3 married couples. These are all people with high-ranking positions in Scientology. And their record, frankly, is very mixed in helping victims. They've helped speak out about a few abuses here and there. They have helped in a few criminal and civil trials. That's definitely true. However, you have to sort of see through the fog and see this is also about helping their platforms, becoming media celebrities, and making money. And to some extent, that is fine as long as they're really helping to expose Scientology. And I want to be clear, Jamie is not focused on that. He is pushing a kind of radical new therapy that he says is being picked up by the military. Very mainstream people are also adopting it. I do not care about that. I was not at all convinced by his, quote, argument. Jamie has a very interesting background as a Latino who grew up in Scientology and very poor. And even though so his own background is that it was a very traumatic experience in Scientology. He did get some education, but it was not very good. He was able to get more educated as life went on. He's published several books. Very inspiring. He's a Latino male. I am a Latino male. He's grown around, quote, gang activities. I don't want to get too much into my biography, but unfortunately, some of my family has been linked to that. Luckily, they got out of it. We have very similar backgrounds, but he grew up on the West Coast. I've been mainly on the East Coast. So I do empathize with what he's trying to do, literally from a cultural background, but I'm just not very convinced by his arguments for the therapy. Now, why is that relevant? Because one of the Aftermath Foundation allies, Mitch Brisker, a Hollywood director who was doing propaganda for Scientology, that's not an accusation, by the way. Mitch admits to this. That's what his thing was. He was doing literally films for the cult. And he recently got out of the whole thing, has been trying to expose Scientology too. However, he's been gaslighting about Jamie. Now, I'm not saying Mitch is unreliable on all things. I think where he has good personal experience and he has good first-hand knowledge, he's definitely credible. However, he doesn't hide that he's pro-Mike Rinder, and apparently he tried to attack Jamie as a hustler. And how do we know this? Because he got into a row with Marilyn, who is a pro-Aaron person. So if you're just coming into this, it will be very confusing. But at this point, it's become very polarized with Aaron growing up in Scientology, popular YouTube channel. People allied on that side, and then Rinder and Claire Headley and the Aftermath people and their people. And Mitch identifies more with Claire, Mark, and Mike, and he considered Jamie a hustler. Okay, well, Jamie says that to Rabbit. He owns the phrase. He says, yeah, you can call me the hustler. I don't care. So he's not denying the charge. Obviously, he means he's a hustler in a good way. He's just trying to help people. And I try to be fair-minded. So what is the evidence Mitch presents that Jamie is a bad hustler? Well, nothing. They spoke, and Mitch is like, I think this is a hustler. He's after the Aftermath money. Okay. Do you have any evidence he's after the money? Also, he's a victim. If he wants to apply for money from the Aftermath Foundation, he's owed the money. He deserves the money. That's where the money should be going to. I'm not sure what Mitch is up to. Now, do I think he's part of a massive fair game OSA operation, as Jamie alleges? No. However, this is a very awful case of gaslighting, and Claire Headley could not be unaware because his name came up when they were attacking Aaron. Aaron was told, yeah, this Jamie guy that you're helping out, yeah, we don't like that guy. He's spreading some weird stuff out there. Listen, as a philosopher of science, I am not convinced by what Jamie's saying. I've done hardcore research into science, philosophy of science for decades. I realize most people don't care about logic, don't care about science, don't care about philosophy of science. 99.999% of all people in the universe don't care about logic. He did not present convincing arguments to me on a logical basis. However, just let him put out his story, let him put out his information. If you have problems with him, publicly debate him. These people have their own platform. They publish books. If they have issues with Jamie's research, publish your own research. That's the end of the question. But doing all this weird private whispering campaigns, all this private gaslighting, spy operations, it's just not good. So the composition of the board is very compromised. There's a conflict of interest just by who they are and their backgrounds. And now they're doing all this weirdo stuff trying to discredit people. That is not the main goal of this foundation. It should be focused on the victims, helping the victims. Now, if the victims put out false information or false research, okay, they should be challenged, and they should be challenged publicly. And you can do that. But the main emphasis is to help them. And if they want to help themselves with Jamie's new therapy, so be it. That's their choice. It's their money. It's not your money. You're just there to make sure the applications are filled out properly, legitimate questions are asked. That is it. That is your job. Your job is not to keep the money. Your job is to distribute the money. Maybe they forgot that, but we didn't there. And there's no way Claire Headley, the president, who used to work with David Miscavige personally, come on. This is getting silly. So I don't think Mitch is a bad guy, but he's definitely just spreading these false accusations with no reason. If he thinks Jamie's doing something really iffy, well, give us some information. Otherwise, this is just baseless charge, trying to discredit a victim because he's not, quote, worshiping the church of Mike Rinder? Why should he? Why should any one of us be worshiping Mike Rinder? I don't know.